The story of Joseph. Once upon a time, in a land far away, there lived a young boy named Joseph. Joseph was 17 years old and had 11 brothers. His father, Jacob, loved him more than all his other children and made him a beautiful coat of many colors. This special gift made Joseph's brothers very jealous and angry. One night, Joseph had a strange dream. He dreamed that he and his brothers were gathering bundles of wheat in a field. Suddenly, Joseph's bundle stood up straight, and all his brothers' bundles gathered around and bowed down to it. When Joseph told his brothers about his dream, they became even more jealous. "Do you really think you will rule over us?" they asked angrily. But Joseph had another dream. This time, he saw the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowing down to him. When he told his father and brothers, his father scolded him. "What kind of dream is this? Do you think your mother, your brothers, and I will all bow down to you?" But his father kept thinking about what Joseph's dreams might mean. One day, Joseph's brothers went to take care of their father's sheep in a faraway place called Shechem. Jacob asked Joseph to go and check on them. When his brothers saw Joseph coming, they plotted to harm him. "Here comes the dreamer," they said. "Let's throw him into a pit and say a wild animal ate him." Reuben, the oldest brother, didn't want to hurt Joseph. He suggested they throw Joseph into a dry pit instead of killing him, planning to rescue him later. So when Joseph arrived, they took off his beautiful coat and threw him into the pit. As they were eating, they saw a caravan of traders coming from Gilead on their way to Egypt. Judah, another brother, had an idea. "Let's sell Joseph to these traders. After all, he is our brother," he said. The others agreed. They sold Joseph for 20 pieces of silver, and the traders took him to Egypt. In Egypt, the traders sold Joseph to a man named Potiphar, who was an officer of the Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. Even though Joseph was far from home and his brothers had betrayed him, he trusted God. God was with Joseph and made him successful in everything he did. Potiphar noticed this and made Joseph in charge of his entire household. But Potiphar's wife lied about Joseph, and he was thrown into prison. Even in prison, God was with Joseph and showed him kindness. The prison warden put Joseph in charge of all the prisoners. While in prison, Joseph met 2 of Pharaoh's servants who were also imprisoned. One was Pharaoh's cupbearer, and the other was his baker. Both had dreams one night, and Joseph offered to interpret them. The cupbearer dreamed of a vine with 3 branches that blossomed and produced grapes. He squeezed the grapes into Pharaoh's cup and handed it to him. Joseph explained that in 3 days, the cupbearer would be restored to his position. The baker dreamed of 3 baskets of bread on his head, with birds eating from the top basket. Joseph sadly told him that in 3 days, Pharaoh would hang him, and the birds would eat his flesh. Everything happened just as Joseph had said. 2 years later, Pharaoh had 2 troubling dreams. In one, 7 fat cows were eaten by 7 skinny cows. In the other, 7 healthy ears of grain were swallowed by 7 thin ears. None of Pharaoh's wise men could interpret the dreams, but the cupbearer remembered Joseph. Joseph was brought before Pharaoh and explained that the dreams meant there would be 7 years of plenty followed by 7 years of severe famine. He advised Pharaoh to store surplus grain during the good years. Pharaoh was so impressed that he made Joseph the second most powerful man in Egypt, in charge of all the land. When the famine came, people from all over came to Egypt to buy grain, including Joseph's brothers. They didn't recognize him, but Joseph knew who they were. After testing their character, Joseph revealed his identity. His brothers were afraid, but Joseph forgave them, saying, "You meant to harm me, but God intended it for good to save many lives." Joseph invited his entire family to live in Egypt, where they would have enough food. Jacob was overjoyed to see his son alive. Together, they lived happily in Egypt. The story of Joseph teaches us about forgiveness and trusting God's plan, even when things seem difficult. Joseph faced many hardships, but he remained faithful and forgave his brothers, showing that love and forgiveness can overcome hatred and jealousy. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. Thank you.